Welcome to this video. Thank you so much for tuning in, sharing in this now moment with myself and with one another. If you haven't seen these videos before, welcome. Welcome back if you have. My intention is unity and oneness. I want to just drop into a little flow with the guides and see what they have to share. And just kind of go from there. I go into a state where I just open up my energy field into the field that we all exist in through and that we are operating within. And I tune in through my body as an antennae, we could say. For those of you who haven't seen these videos before, I do a lot of things and I just share them from my toolbox to your toolbox. So it's meant to be felt, not necessarily understood on a linear basis. I like to play with words a lot, and sometimes light language will come through. Sometimes energy healing will come through. Sometimes, just different things that we can utilize for our own expansion and higher awareness. So here we go. Ewa ish ukuye mahai e inikikai, so some light language. Ku I ish unahekai. Our energies are expanding. And as we tune into these pockets, if you will, of energetic expansion and expression, we allow ourselves to turn out our pockets and find all of our loose change. And this is a play on words. We are warming up. We are able to turn out our pockets and see what has been hidden on the inside, that which we have collected, and we make a change. We make change. We allow ourselves to see what we have and what we have not seen, if you will. We're playing with this because one of the messages that has been coming through is about the brain. It's about the eyes. It's about our senses. It's about our higher sensory abilities coming online. And simultaneously, it is about planetary shifts and change that is upon us. We would invite you to see the image of turning out pockets with loose change and see it as a value system. Old ways of adding and counting, old ways of giving something for something. And we would invite you to see that that exchange is also changing. What we are exchanging with, the value that we find in our exchanges is shifting with us. So our vocabulary does not always transmit the multidimensionality that we are seeing from a higher realm. Instead, we play with words in order to tie together loose ends, if you will, or loose change, so that we can change the words and the signatures in which the words are expressed, meaning we can use a multiversality, if you will, in a multidimensional reality and streamline with words in a conjunctive type way, conjunction, making certain points and tying together loose ends that before would seem like the end. And we realize as we play with this, it is just the beginning. And so let us play with these words a bit more so we can reconstruct this vocabulary so that it may add up and create an abundance of messages that can be read between the lines, if you will. And we turn back now to passages of the ancients, passages that we may have covered up. So as I say this, I see underground passages. I see passages from a book and chapters of a book. And then I'm hearing passages in time. We would invite you to become a sorry, I heard like 10 different words come in. So let me just tune in. A little bit tired today. I had a big burst of energy yesterday, and today I'm just like, whoa. And you must have the brain entrained in order to receive these energies, for you are stimulating the senses and the geometries in which these languages and words are interpreted, configured with. And figuratively speaking, we are accessing more than we were before. And non-figuratively, I'm seeing figure eight, I'm seeing ice skating. For when we bring forth these words, it creates pictures, it creates harmonics, it creates frequency, it creates thoughts, it creates patterns, so on and so forth, which then build on each other like waves. And as these build on each other, there becomes a complex set, if you will, of energetic exchange that occurs within the template of the body and the template of the energy that the body is connected into, that it is receiving this information from. And this creates a smorgasbord, if you will, or a broader bandwidth and more advanced motherboard in which to receive the information from. For as you build on this, much like a layer cake, you are able to see the pockets within the sponge, within, I'm seeing like a sponge cake, that hold even more than meets the eye. It is an infinite abundance of energy and templates stacked on top of one another. And many of us are not used to playing in this way. Many of us are used to going throughout our day and interpreting information in a very linear way and not recognizing the pictures that are on display constantly in our imagination that we refuse or do not choose or do not see or do not wish to play with in this reality. And we would venture to say you could compare it to a virtual reality. Yet, in an experiential way, in inner mingling with humanity, it creates a much broader bandwidth than just a virtual reality would. So, we would invite you to see that you are choosing now how you wish to connect with reality. Do you wish to put the goggles on? Do you wish to see through a window, if you will, of technology that is telling you how to see your reality? And you are then responding as if it is real, as if it is something that is mm, not outside of your, I'm seeing it's not in your imagination. Ooh, this is getting complex because I don't play those, but I could see like a video game for an example, or even looking at a TV screen. We are not necessarily here in this moment going to go into the complexity of virtual reality versus real reality. For some do hold the belief that this is a virtual reality of sorts, and yet you are the goggles, one might say. You are the motherboard. You are allowing yourself to have an experience through a physical form, hence the goggles, and this physical form then interprets the information and feeds it back to your non-physical form. And this is true to a certain extent, for you are always interpreting information, receiving signals, sending out signals, and sending them back and forth between reality structures, including the future and higher versions of you, if you wish to see it that way. But we would invite you to get out of your own way. For even though this one definition of a version of reality is something you could play in, and it has been done before, we would invite you to see that there is much, much, much more than even that one particular template. For you are not necessarily isolated, if you will, into this particular version of reality in a virtual way. There are virtually infinite realities beyond the technology that many of you are assuming you are connected through. So I'm seeing like the movie The Matrix as an example. That's a version of reality. That's a version of how it works. Then there's another version that we're in, and we could call this a virtual reality, but there's more that aren't like that. So we're able to tap into all of those, even though in this we might believe that it's a hologram. Doesn't matter. There's other realities that aren't holograms, and sometimes this reality, from my perspective, isn't a hologram. Depends on the reality that we're in. So it's very complex. I'm seeing it's just like, what do you want to believe? Right? And there's going to be proof for a lot of those beliefs. As we create our reality, we create more proof to validate our reality. This is a complex message, and we will not dive in too deeply to this particular transmission. Let us kind of pull back for a moment and put the brake on. Let us take a break from many of the transmissions that are being given right now. Let us tune into our own potential. Let us tune into our own tempo. Let us tune into how we feel in this now moment and access the divine grace that is encapsulated within our DNA. We are inviting you to do this because many people are constantly being distracted. And this is an ongoing message that we have been sharing in many of our previous presentations, if you will. Many of us are constantly distracted by the opinions of others and the logistics, if you will, or the mechanisms of how the reality works. And we are sharing those mechanisms with you as well. But we would invite you to take a break from all of that. Do not be afraid to go outside of what it is that you are afraid of operating within. And this is the play on words. We invite you not to be afraid to go outside, going outside of your comfort zone, going outside into the nature of reality, nature and nurture your own reality, your own body, your own ability to tune into the fresh air, to tune into the trees, to tune into the birds and the bees. That could be a play on words too, to allow yourself to really feel a different version of reality than what many people have succumbed to. For many people are superimposed in a realm that is separate or creates a distortion of separation, is more well spoken, creates this distortion of separation that keeps a buffer zone between your own reality and false sets of reality. So again, I'm seeing like there's a lot. Let's keep going. We invite you to access your own human potential by becoming the portal that you are, walking through and allowing yourself to step into the new version of you. This requires us sometimes to let go of the old programming that we are continuously plugged into. We tune into it as soon as we pick up our phones and handle a device. We tune into it as soon as we pick up a remote control. We tune into it as soon as we play a video game. We tune into this other reality as soon as we watch a movie or a television show. We even do it on our computer screens at work. So we are constantly being plugged into whatever it is we are being plugged into. And we are unconsciously, oftentimes, continuing to plug into those things in these virtual realms. Once we have left those virtual realms or those screens and gone into our home, it never ends. It is also infinite in some cases. So we would invite you to play with this for a bit and ask yourself, where do I fit in my own sense of um, expansion? Where do I fit in? So that's a play on words. Like, where do I fit in? Where do I fit in my own sense of expansion? Am I spending too much time talking to, chat? Am I spending too much time playing games, video games? Am I spending too much time in a virtual world? And am I even realizing that what I'm tuning into is a virtual world? And I'm just seeing scrolling, right? Like mindlessly. How many of you guys have gone on to like look up a recipe and then like half hour later, I'm like, wait, oh yeah, I was gonna cook dinner. It happens instantly. And we would invite you to find adventure. We would invite you to find adventure in your life again so that you can feel again, so that you can feel alive again. For many of you that think you feel alive are only tuning in half of the time in a lively way. For the buffer zone, once it is set up, is constantly in our way. It is I'm being shown like whew, like it's there, but we don't see it. We're like feeling it. And I'm being guided to say, clear your field, right? Like, um, when you get home from the grocery store, brush it off, right? When you get done with the phone, sage your body, take a shower, clean it off, make an intention, ask out loud. I now choose to clear all frequencies and energies that are bombarding my natural signal. I now choose to clear and remove all energies and frequencies, beings and entities from my field, from my space, from my body that are blocking my channel, so on and so forth. Being conscious of this throughout the day is going to help you feel more. It is going to help you differentiate and discern that which is pulling you in and creating distraction versus that which is something that is coming up from within to pull you back into a higher codex, a higher frequency, a higher timeline, a more advanced version of you. So we are continuously being invited to see what it is that we are tuning into. And we cannot see it in some cases. And even if we do see it, we cannot fully understand how much it is pulling from our own resources. While this is not always a negative thing, we also realize that as the energies come in this particular time space in your reality, you must be open to receive them in order to grow. Just as a seed that is planted must be receive sunlight in order to grow and water, you are that seed. And if you have a seed or a seedling that has grown and then stops receiving sunlight and stops receiving um, water, it will wither and die away. So there are many who are not aware that they are withering. It's not to say that they will leave this planet or that they are in a completely disintegrating process, but it is a half life, if you will. And so we invite you to recognize where this energy is being funneled into. For there is a massive influx of energy that is being funneled into to you, and from your planetary brothers and sisters and um, energies that are here to assist you in this difficult journey. Well, it is not always difficult. We recognize that at this now moment, for many, it is difficult, or it feels that way, or it is perceived that way, or it seems that way. We would also venture to say that the more you tune into the tube, if you will, the more it will feel difficult because you are projecting your energy and your attention to that particular story, timeline, program that is seeking to distract you, to draw you into that particular story, platform, or timeline, because within that particular dominion, if you will, there is another world. There is another creator that is creating that world in this world of creators, creation, and um, freedom of choice, so to speak. So we would invite you to again and again tune back into your frequency. Find your frequency and feel into that which stimulates your frequency in a peaceful, blissful, loving, and enjoyable way. For many are forgetting what they once found enjoyable. Many feel that they are enjoying scrolling through channels and watching funny videos. And this at times is true. Yet is it the truth? Is it the ultimate truth? Is it the ultimate bliss and the ultimate joy? For you are tuning into other people's truths. um, I'm just remembering friends of mine. I used to be friends with these beautiful souls who had a couple of children, and they would watch like a show where people were playing with Barbies, but the kids weren't playing with the Barbies. They were just watching other kids play with the Barbies. They found that really fascinating. So it can be useful for our growth, but the guides are like, take a break, and we think we're taking a break, and I can be just as guilty of this myself, but we're not. We're not taking a break. We're actually only taking a break for a few minutes, and then our consciousness is still tied to that game we were playing earlier or that video we were watching or whatever it might be. And this includes spirituality. I mean, obviously, I encourage you to share these videos and like them and enjoy them. But that doesn't mean that that's something we should be doing all the time, all day long. And even me sharing these videos with you, I have to take a break. I have been diving in and digging up the meaning to some of these messages that I'm getting because of the wordplay and wanting to share them with you guys. And I get pulled in for hours working on this material. And it's not it's wonderful, but there's also more than that, right? There's more than just me tuning into my guides. I'm hearing that song, More Than This. um and so, it's about us connecting with family members. It's about us enjoying time in the outdoors. It's about us working with our hands and arts and crafts, learning a new hobby or task. And part of the reason I'm hearing as I'm saying this is because they said earlier in this channeling, we're creators. So we're continuing to create. But if we're only continuing to create because we're all watching the same programs and we're all tuning into things in the same way, day after day, right? We don't necessarily create something new, right? We're just in that bubble of reality. We're creating in that platform, in that dominion. So they're just saying that we need balance, and I'm seeing colors, like all the colors of the rainbow. Um, yeah. So we encourage all of you to take a break. Perhaps when you are done tuning into this particular offering, you step outside and lean into the sun and lean into the water. Allow your toes to dip in a pond, obviously, if it's safe to do so. Go for a swim in the ocean. Go collect some rocks. Uh, go to a dog park, even if you don't have an animal, and connect with the animals. Go volunteer in a community. Really get to know your plants that you have in your yard. Things that you would not necessarily see as interesting then become interesting. For what you look at looks at you. For what you put your attention towards leans in towards you. All is responding to you, if you will, from one perspective, the oneness that we all are. And so this is a simple message and a seemingly boring task, if you will, to go out and ask the flowers and the plants what they might see in you or how you can better assist them, or just ask yourself how you feel when you look at a flower, or the simplicity of life. Yet we are reminding you that life is simple at times, and it is in those simple times that we find that which reminds us of our divinity, of our grace, of our ability to feel beyond this particular dimensional existence, this space in time. We invite you to feel into your genetic abundance that is encapsulated within you, for these are restructuring. All that is in you is restructuring, just as all that is outside of you is also restructuring. Even if you are only tuning into one program and that program tells you that things are a certain way, this is not the entire truth. This is not, in actuality, how reality really works. And so we invite you to get curious. We invite you to use your own questions to lean into synchronicities to guide you towards the magic in the mundane. For again, many people complain that they do not have any magic in their lives. They do not have any synchronicities. And they go back to watching others and what their realities look like, and they forget or they lose track or they disconnect from the very essence that is breathing life through them. And so that is the purpose of this message, to feel into the essence of the life that is breathing through you, the life that you are, the breath that you are breathing out, and that which you are drawing in a constant symbiotic reunion over and over, time and time again, infinitely, even beyond the body. For the breath we speak of is not just oxygen. It is not just taken in through the lungs. It is a light that is inside of each and every one of us. And it is delighted to feel into a fuller experience, a fuller expression, a fuller joyfulness of its own expression. I'm just seeing like people, yeah, walking and being like, wow, I've never seen that flower before. That's incredible. Um, I never would have noticed that butterfly. The other day I was looking at the ground and there was a beautiful caterpillar going by. Never would have seen it had I been on my phone. So it's just a reminder that it's really important that we don't continue to just get locked into our programming. After school programming is what I'm hearing. So it is important for us to create, right? To create with creation, meaning art, dance, song, science, mathematics, all of it, writing. Um, so I'm going to end on that note. That was a little flow with the guides. Hopefully, someone found that helpful. And invite you to take a deep breath, get into the body, get into the heart throughout the day today. I am going to get some sun. Not that there's a lot of sun out today, but going to take my own advice, which I don't always do. In love and light, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Namaste.